Hello everyone, welcome back to Resonant Rise episode 9, and today I'm going to start on my sorting system and hopefully get the majority of it finished to basically show you the general concept of it. But before I do that, I want to tell you what I've been getting up to over the between the episodes. I know I haven't really been releasing too many episodes recently. I've been kind of busy, so yeah. But between the episodes, I've created a few new spells. So if I just shift click here, I've got 3 new spells, and I've also put them in a spellbook. So I started with, I believe it was Touch Dig that I had. And what this does is, you click it, you dig up a block. So that was the first one I did, and then I decided witches are annoying, so I created myself a regen spell. And the cool thing about a regen spell is, currently it's in the medium caster mode, so regen, you get 12 seconds of regeneration too. Pretty cool. Now, the thing about the spell and a couple of other spells is if I just open this book here, as you can see at the bottom, this one requires 1,000 essence, and it requires the light essence. Now, if I just run into my house and grab my regen book, you'll see that I believe this one is, the spell recipe book. Open this one, it has 500 neutral essence it needs. Now, to get the neutral essence started, what you actually have to do is, as I mentioned when we first started Ars Magica, there are different, I believe these are Nexi. So there are different types of Nexi. This one is a light Nexi, so it creates energy when it can see the light. If you put anything but moonstone on the top, so whatever the cat rock is, it will generate different amounts. And then there are 2 other ones. One is the neutral nexus, which is this thing I'm stood next to, and another one is a dark nexus. Now, the neutral nexus requires this stuff here to build up its energy. So what it does is, if I get a bucket, if I grab myself a bucket of liquid essence, which this all came from the pool I had over there, and all you do is you simply put it down here. The essence will run underneath this center block here, and then we'll get this little particle effect, and it will consume it eventually. Come on, there it goes. So there's this source block, it disappears, and it will create essence from it. And that's how you basically create the neutral essence. Now, the source block is used up in the process, which does mean that the tanks, you will need to seek out essence from the world, so you'll have to pick up different essence from all over the world to store it. And I've stored this in open blocks tanks, and that way I can have it on hand if I need any more. So that's pretty cool. And then all you need to do then is give it a click with the staff thing, the same thing we did with this one to the battery. Click it on here, and then click this block up here, flick the lever will come down, and it will draw in the essence, and then the lever will automatically flick back up once it's finished, and then it'll ask for the next item and so on. Quickly slept through the night. The other thing you needed for my other spell, which I made, which is the Big Dig spell, and I'll show you what that does in a bit, is I needed to create myself, I believe it was in air essence, which I didn't have already, because sometimes you can get them from mob drops, I believe, specific mobs. But I didn't have any, so I had to create myself a essence refiner, and all you do is you fill this up with the correct ingredients, and then it will automatically start to activate, and then it will eventually create yourself some of the essence that you built. It does require some form of essence to get it going, so in this case it will be light essence from the nexus outside. And yeah, so you can create some essence doing that. Okay, so what does my Big Dig spell do? Well, it's a bit like Little Dig, or Touch Dig, or whatever, but this time, instead of having it create a single block break, it will actually do a 3x3 break. And the other thing is if I go into medium cast mode and cast it again, let's get rid of this one. It will do a much larger break. I believe it's a 4x4, maybe even more. No, it's a 5x5. So it's a pretty cool spell. It made creating my storage system, which is down here, much quicker to do. So that's what I've used it for. Right, so onto the storage system. So as you can see, it consists of 3 different layers. We have the basement, which I'll tell you what that does later. And then we've got 2 floors above it, which all contain barrels. Now, there is in total for the 2 floors, I believe it's 192 barrels. So that's quite a lot of barrels. This is not going to be the cheapest way of doing this system, but it is one way of doing it. But to connect these up to a general network, what we're going to use is applied energistics. Now, last season we created an applied energistics system combined with a logistics pipe system, but we used the logistics pipes to generally move the items around and just applied energistics to store it. This time we're going to use purely applied energistics in most cases, and to connect the barrel to the system we're going to need these ME storage buses. Now, as you can see, I've already set up a few of them. I do have some more in my inventory over here, and I'm going to add them to the barrel. Now, as I said, there is 192 barrels. It's going to take a while to actually fill every single one, especially with storage buses, because they are quite expensive. This is not a cheap build, it's just a cool looking build, at least in my opinion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect up more storage buses to these, and then I will attach it to the bottom. I've also put a couple down there, and then I will attach it to the basement, where we'll have the monitors to see what we can see what we have stored and stuff like that. So I'm gonna place some more of these storage buses down, and I will come back and I will explain some other stuff. Okay, so as you can see, we've got all the storage buses set up. Well, I say all of them. There is actually only up to here on this side, and a let's see, over here it only goes up to here. Like I said, very expensive to do. Not something you probably want to do if you want to get quickly into applied energistics. But I've also run a couple down here that I had spare, and I didn't have enough to finish the row. So I've got a couple down here and a cable going off into the wall this direction, and it runs downstairs to this area here. Now with me I also have a access terminal, which I'm going to place in here, and a crafting monitor, which I'm going to place on the bottom. Now these are pretty much the exact same thing, except obviously this one you can craft with. I decided to go with both this time, just for the fact that sometimes you want to just access items and you don't want such a small box to access them with, so I've gone with 2 of them. The other thing we're going to need is some power to go to the controller, and I'm going to probably use the only available power I currently have, which is this stuff in here. And I'm going to run some conduits down and to the controller, which I will just simply hide behind this wall over here somewhere. In fact, the chances is, yeah, what I'll do is I'm going to move all of these storage buses here, because obviously I've run out of materials pretty much. I've got a few left, but I don't have that much of this cable and stuff left, so I'm going to move all of these storage buses onto this side over here, and then I will run. If you look at the map, you'll see I'm pretty much in the center of the other building with the power in, so I'll run the tunnel off that way to find where it comes up. So I'll do that off camera and I'll come back and show you it. Okay, so everything is connected. As you can see, we've got power going into the controller that's going from the back. In fact, if I just go all through there, you can see the conduit at the back. Now, everything should be connected up, which means anything that we enter into the system, such as some cobble, it will show up on the monitors. Now, I've just actually picked up the monitor to be able to demonstrate this. So there we go. Once it's loaded in, you can see the 62 cobble. I think it was this. Yep, this one. As you can see on Whaler at the top, there is 62 out of 4,096 items. So you can see that we've got cobble in here. Now, if we was to add cobble to the system using the monitor, so if we were to click it in, it will eventually appear. There we go. And in the barrel, you can see there's 126 items. Now, there is something if you basically add cobble to, say, this one. So now there's 4 cobble in here and 126 in there, so 130 in total. As you can see, it says 130. Now, if we add another stack of cobble to this, we go to 194, but then which barrel does it pick? Well, it's probably going to pick the closest one. It is random. I think, but I'm pretty sure it actually does just pick the closest one to the terminal. So as you can see, we've got 126 still in this top one, but in this bottom one we've got 68. So that's one way of sorting things out. Now what we want to actually do is, if we click this and go to this symbol over here, you'll see ME storage priority. And what I want to do is I want to set all the barrels to have a higher priority than any of the other systems. So I basically need to go around and set all of these to number 2. Now as you can see, this one is going to be on priority 1. This is going to be on priority 2. So all it does is priority works in terms of the higher the number, the more chance it is to have the items. So if we throw in another stack, as you can see, this one is on 68 now, but this one's gone up to 190. So it's choosing this priority over this one. Now once this one becomes full, it will then start to fill this barrel up. And then once this one's become full, it will then choose any of the barrels in the system that have a priority lower than this one. So pretty much all of them. So that's basically the simple parts of the system. So I'm actually going to go click pretty much every single one of these and set them to something like priority 5. So we're going to eventually have chests down here lining the walls. I don't know which walls, possibly these ones here or these ones here. And they're going to store the single-use items, the ones that you don't use a lot of. And I'm going to try and fill all of these barrels up here with something that stacks that we quite commonly use. Might not be possible, but in fact I might have just too many barrels in total. We'll find out soon. I'm not sure at all. I've never tried this before, but that's the way we're gonna do it. Quick note about these barrels: this barrel of copper ingots obviously has copper ingots in it, and this one also has copper ingots in it. Now, if I take this one out, this one has thermal expansion copper ingots, whereas this one has IC2 copper ingots. But if you look at the number, we've got 2 times 64 plus 3, and now I'm using the IC2 on the thermal expansion barrel. We have 3 times 64 plus 3. So these barrels will use the ore dictionary to change the order of the metal going into it, or any other thing that applies to the ore dictionary, and it will all condense it down into the same item. So now if we were to pull them all out, they're all going to be thermal expansion copper. Now I haven't really planned this out too much, so I don't know whether I'll move it in the end or whatever, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my coke oven for the stuff that I need for railcraft. I'm going to build it underneath the tank. So to start with, obviously I've got my stuff for the coke oven. So these are just coke oven bricks. And then, as you may have seen before, or probably know, just get rid of this one. There you go. Simply build her up, but with a hollow gap, and that way you should get yourself an interface. Now I do need to grab some coal, but I don't have any. And then simply I'm going to place the tank on top. Now I will probably end up tidying this up in the end, but I'm going to use if I can craft them. There we go. These things, open block tanks. So this is the same thing I used for the whatever it is over there, the Nexus, to store the essence, and I'm just basically going to fill up the top. I'm gonna have to grab a few more, so let's just do that. Okay, so I've done that. I've added a few more tanks. I just put one extra on the bottom. Like I said, I will probably change this eventually, but just gonna throw these coal into the coke oven and let it produce some creosote oil. Now I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to pump this stuff out, so I've grabbed a pneumatic servo, but we're going to have to wait until it produces some, so I will just basically speed this bit up until we get to around here, and then it should create creosote oil and store it in this tank. There you go, so we've got half a bucket of creosote oil. Now to get it out, pneumatic servo on the bottom, wrench this, and this should draw it at the top and throw it into the tank. Now as you can see, it's got 500 of 16,000 millibuckets, so that's half a bucket. Now it won't show up until there is more in there because there isn't enough to render it, but eventually this should fill up, give us a nice tanker of creosote, we can fill up some bottles or whatever we need to craft with it. And that's pretty much it. So, yeah. So I'm going to leave this running until we need it. I'll keep topping it up with coal. I'll eventually automate the whole system. We may add some more coke oven to the system so we can create it faster if we need it. But that's basically it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift everything from my main base into either barrels, or I'm going to add some chests and put them in there. So I'm going to do that between episodes. Like I said, I'm going to let this keep running between episodes to create us more and more creosote oil. And then next episode, maybe the episode after, we'll have hopefully enough stuff to start to transport the items from, say, our tree farm, which is, let's see if we can get this lift, not fail so much. The tree farm over here, so any of the excess logs or saplings, we can transport them not very far, but eventually when the factories start to expand, we'll be able to travel a bit further. But we'll collect them from here, take them down and stick them into the main system, which will store them in the barrels or chests. That's pretty much it. So thanks for watching episode 9 of Resonant Rise. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and I will see you later.